Okay, good evening. Before we start the lecture, I would like to thank Simcha and Levi and Rage for organizing this event. The topic of the lecture tonight is Torah and Science. It's a combination of scientific evidence that the Torah is divine and information that was written in the Torah that applies to our generation, which indicates that a regular human being was unable to write such a book. Why it's so important, this lecture? Perhaps it's the most important lecture in Judaism. Why it's so important? Because in this generation, it's very difficult to speak to a Jew that is completely secular, is not a believer, and ask him to keep Torah and mitzvot, to become religious, without proving to him 100% that the Torah is divine. People are technically not interested to keep the mitzvot. They're not interested to change their lifestyle. They do not want to obligate themselves to a system, to a different lifestyle than what they used to or the way they grew up. So obviously there's no cooperation from almost no one. When people are willing to start change, when they come to the final conclusion that the Jewish Torah is the only book in history that really was written and given to people by God. Once people understand that it's not just another book, one of million other books that were written, it's a special book, then some of the people cannot continue to live in a lie. When I say to live in a lie, what I mean is, from this moment on, they realize that if this book is divine, basically everything that this book is written about, I am doing the opposite. The book says that you should do A, and I'm doing the opposite. You should do B, and I'm doing the opposite. And it's every minute of my life. Some people, believe it or not, it doesn't bother them at all. They can go on like this 70 years knowing they live in a lie. They continue to steal, to cheat, to do all the things that the Torah says you're not allowed to do, and it doesn't bother them even a bit. Some people, it bothers them a little bit. So some of the things they change. What's easy, they're willing to change. What's more difficult, they say that's already too much for me. But there are people that they have very, very serious problem living, knowing that every second of my life is against the rules of my Creator. Which means, how am I going to grind water? In Hebrew, we have an expression. When they want to say that someone is wasting his life, they say, tochen maim, grinding water. Grinding water, after 70 years, you still have water. You did not reach anything. Living 70 years in a life, and then one day we're all going to die, and finding out then, in the final stop, that you went to the wrong direction, that's going to be a major, major disappointment. Now, I'm not here to talk about punishments and about some of the parts of the Torah. That's not what I came here before. I'm speaking to the lowest level possible, which means I have to assume that each one of you, it's a large audience, Baruch Hashem, but each one of you is a complete secular, non-believer Jew. I have to come from this point, unless if you correct me. If you all say, no, we're a believer, we know the Torah is divine, then we move to the next step. But since the topic was chosen to be scientific proof, I have to start from the lowest level, and the lecture has 3 different steps. Step number 1, before we even talk about the Torah, we have to prove that God exists. That's step number 1. After we prove God exists, then we have to link the Torah to God. Just to prove that God exists doesn't tell me that much about the purpose of life, about the Torah, who said there is a connection. There's one thing that God exists, and there's another thing, there's a claim that the Torah is divine. Who say that they are connected? So I have to link the Torah directly to God, not to the rabbis, not to the history, directly to the Creator of the world. That's step number 2. Step number 3 is, after I'm proving that the Torah, the written and the oral Torah, it's totally 100% divine, then the step number 3 is, I have to explain what's the purpose of life, what's the purpose of this creation, why God made the world, why He put us here, why He gave us the Torah, what's the purpose of all that. This whole set of Torah and mitzvot, the commandments, this lifestyle of the Torah, obviously have a purpose. We're going to start with step number 1. We have a rule in life. Everything that we're going to see and to hold in our hand, every creation that we ever approach in our life, a laptop, a projector, a table, a chair, a light bulb, anything, you name it, anything that was ever created, we know that if there is a creation, there has to be a creator. For instance, if I come and claim that this watch, I was walking on the street and there was a random explosion and millions of pieces started to fly in the air and they all started to connect and the glass came right into place and the battery went in and the cover closed and all the pieces of the chain came and connected together and it fell on my hand and it closed by itself and now it's moving for the last 20 years. Obviously, at that case, Rage Organization won't be able to have lectures anymore after that. So after this speaker, we don't need anymore to take risks. But, you're laughing, but almost every professor in the top universities in the world teach like that every week. Nobody laughs at him. Why? Because we got used to it. Coming to say that this beautiful creation with billions of stars, galaxies, oxygen, water, everything, people, animals, 2 million different kinds of animals, trees, flowers, so many brilliant things in a creation, coming to claim that something like this happened with a random explosion and everything started to expand out of nowhere and then it started to develop with certain evolution and one thing leads to another, it's also not exactly clever to claim such a claim. But when the professors are saying it in university, everybody buys it. They live with that, they learned it, they go to test on it, they pass the test, and then they become professor, and excuse my language, they continue to teach this nonsense to another 10 million people, and they will teach it to 100 million people, and I promise you, not even one of them believe what he's preaching. Why? Every normal human being knows, if there is a chair, there must be a carpenter. I don't know him, but I'm willing to swear on my life that the carpenter made it. If there is a laptop, there's some kind of Japanese engineer that made it. I'm willing to swear on it. I don't have to know him. If I go to the moon and I see a Coca-Cola can, I know somebody was there before me. He didn't get there by itself. If I see this remote control, I'm willing to swear on my children's life that it wasn't made by itself. Why? Symmetric, perfect for the finger, laser, exactly for the speaker's needs. Is it possible to think that out of nowhere a remote control was made with all these buttons and the number and the circle? Everything is perfect by itself. Let's not kid ourselves. So why am I saying this? Because it's very, very simple. Step number 1 is exactly 2 minutes. If there is a creation, there must be a creator. The more brilliant the creation is, it indicates that the creator is more brilliant. To make a chair, you don't need to be a genius. 1 day of training and you know how to make a chair. To make an F-16 airplane, you need 20 years of training. It's not enough 1 day. Why? It's a very sophisticated machine. The more clever the machine is, the more ability the creator has. When we review a human brain, we take one brain, size of an apple, 10 trillion connection inside this little piece of jelly, 80% jelly, 20% raw material, 10 trillion connection in this little box. If we take all the telephone companies in the world, include all the satellites, every wire out there, include all satellites of all the countries in the world combined, is not 1% of the dumbest person in the world. Take the dumbest person in the world, his brain is 100 times greater than all the telecommunication companies, including internet, all over the world. Just one brain of one person. Multiplied by 7 billion people in this generation, go back hundreds of generations before, take millions and millions of different monkeys, take all the 2 million different species, they all have brains, Everything is connected. People have feelings. People have memory. Everything is very, very sophisticated. Not to talk about the rest of the creation. I'm not even going into the galaxies and all the rest of the movements of all the galaxy. Everything is in order. Nothing collides. There is a supervision of every inch of the creation. To come and deny it, you can say whatever you want. But let's not fool ourselves. I don't believe there's one person in a history that really believed that everything was made by itself and there is no supervisor. It's not realistic. So what's step number 2? That, by the way, I brought you some DVDs. It's a 4-hour DVD. It's a combination of 3 lectures with musics and pictures and videos. It's called TorahAnyTime. It's more professional than tonight. I don't have the tools that I have in the studio there. And I'm not going to cover even half of that CD tonight. But that CD is a combination of 3 lectures. Part number 1, it's proving that the Jews stood in Mount Sinai 3,320 years ago and heard the voice of God. God speaking to Moshe, giving him the Torah, and Judaism began that moment. That's the first hour. The second step of that CD is scientific proof that the written and the oral Torah could be given only by God. No person was able to write those things. Part number 3 of that CD, what's the purpose of life? Why righteous people suffer and wicked people celebrate? Why there are sicknesses? What's the point of life after life? What does it mean, body and soul? All the famous questions that every one of you ask in your life, I try to answer that in part number 3. So my recommendation to you, if you really care about your future and about your life and the purpose of your life, one time in your life you want to dedicate 4 hours, and that's a complete seminar of education. It will educate you from A to Z. What are we doing here? How do we know it's real? What to do, what not to do. Then it's a free choice. You do what you want to do. Nobody forces you what to do, but at least you have the tools from now on to know if the rabbis are fooling you or what they say it's really authentic. That's the question. Because when people came to me many years ago and told me, you know, that's the truth, I laugh. Baloney, truth. What truth? Everyone claimed they have the truth. But after 15, 20 minutes, the person I spoke to, I started to shake. I started to move in my chair because I started to see that it's closing from all direction on me. I asked this, solid proof. I asked that, solid proof. Another one. That's been going on for 3 hours. After 3 hours, I had to surrender. How long I'm going to make myself a fool? And that person told me, you see, it's all human logic. No beliefs, no nothing. Now let's see some of the things that I'm talking about. As we started, the first rule is that if there is a book that was given by the creator of the world to people, if we're going to find one mistake in that book, one human error, from that moment on, it's not going to be wise to continue to waste time on that book. You can read it if you're curious, but obviously you cannot continue to claim that this book is divine. Why? People like Albert Einstein and other genius people, as genius as they may be, they make mistakes. No one is perfect. But when the book claimed to be the book of God, we expect God to be a superpower that it's completely perfect. If it's capable of making human errors, we cannot rely on one word of what he say. Because if he tells me that I have to put tefillin every day, maybe it's his second mistake. If he tells me that I have to observe the Sabbath, and for that he's going to reward me greatly, maybe it's his second mistake. If he tells me to get married, maybe that's his second mistake. How can I rely on him after he already proven to me once that he's able to make mistakes? It's enough that I find one time that he made such like geographical mistake, mathematical mistake, contradiction in his books, in the chapters. One time he said one number and the next chapter he said a different number. So that's a memory problem. From that moment on, I cannot rely on that book. So far you agree with everything I say or you have comments? So far.
I have a lot of questions.
I didn't say questions, I say comments. The questions will be gone in 1 hour.
Including comments.
Yeah, comment, Vakasha, please.
Well, for example, in many places Torah says, as I told, for example, how to prepare kosher meat, something. So that means God take responsibility that He will keep it. But we don't know how to prepare the backside of the animal, of the cow, of others. So He didn't keep His promise.
Who told you that we don't know? We know, of course, 100% we know.
Don't use the backside of the cow, of the livestock.
Okay, first of all, you have to know.
We have five ways how to dye the tefillin and others. So we lost a lot.
No. Wait. You have a good point. It's true that there are limited amount of information that we do not know today like we used to know 3,000 years ago. But for instance, as you're going to see the lecture, if you go all over the world, even though there was 2,000 years without communication, no internet, no telephones, no UPS, no FedEx, no radio, no television, nothing. There were Jews all over the world. Jews in Europe, Jews in Yemen, Jews in the Arab countries. The Jews unite together to Israel. About 120 years ago, they started to come to Israel. Another wave and another wave, and all the Jews brought the same tefillin. Same Shema Israel, same 4 chapters, same color, same stripe, everything the same. What's the difference? If to tie it in that way or that way, it's not so relevant. Because even if you don't know how to tie it, any way you tie the tefillin, it's kosher. How to do it with the shin here or the shin here, it's not so critical. That's why it's not important. That's why it wasn't kept 100%. But the original things, there's not even one piece of information that it's critical that we do not know how to do like Moshe Rabbeinu knew how to do.
But the God says, as I told you, so it means He keep promise that He will keep it.
No, as I told you, there's no promise. As I told you, I don't see where you see a promise. All right, let's move on. All these comments will be gone in half an hour, I promise you. Give me a chance. I just say based on what I said so far. So far, if there is a creation, there has to be a creator. If the creation is very brilliant, it indicates that the creator is very brilliant. If there is a book that was given by this God, we do not give him a second chance. One mistake and it's over. So far it makes sense or no?
Yes.
Okay, very good. Yes, one comment here.
It's a common question. Okay, so you're saying that if there's a creation, there must have been a creator.
Right.
So there's a chair, you don't know who made it, but it appeared out of it didn't appear out of somewhere,
Right.
somebody made it.
Yes.
Just because you don't know who made it doesn't mean that somebody in this world doesn't know. So you can't, technically speaking, trace back who the creator of this chair is.
Yeah.
It's physical matter that was manipulated into a chair. The physical matter was already in existence.
Right.
But to say that we cannot trace back how the universe was created because we don't know. So to say that it was created by God.
I got you. Yes, you're right. Very good comment. But your comment comes just because I didn't go into my next step of the proofs. The proofs obviously link the Torah to God, and then we know who is that creator. As of now, after 10 minutes that I've been speaking, you're right. I did not prove the Torah is divine. I did not prove nothing. I only know, right, so far, based on human common sense that it's common to all of us, that if there is a creator, we know it wasn't made by itself. Somebody designed it. It's symmetric. It's exact. It has shapes. It wasn't made by itself. You know, if I'll take 100 coins and I throw them on the floor, they won't make a perfect circle. Even if I throw them 1 billion times, they never will fall in the same way like the previous time. Never. I can throw 1 million times and I still won't make a circle, an equal symmetric circle. Because it's random. It falls everywhere. Once it's going to be here, once it's going to be there. To create something randomly, it's impossible. So if we see a brain with 10 trillion connection and it's all inside water, 80% water, and if one of them is disconnected, the entire system fall apart and it doesn't work, obviously we see a brilliant design. That's all I said so far. Now my next step is...
One more short comment, very short one.
One second. My next step right now is, now I come and I throw a bomb here. What is my bomb? I claim that there is one book in history, only one, that was given to millions of people in a public event They have one representative from them, which was Moshe ben Amram, Moses in English. Moses spoke to God. God gave him the Torah in front of millions of people from the nation of Israel. This is before Israel became Israel. We were first the Hebrews at that moment. After the Torah was given, we became the Jews. Their Jewish religion officially started. Now, I'm going to prove to you that this book, that I'm claiming that it's the book of God, is for sure the book of God. I'm going to prove it to you in a few minutes. How am I going to prove it to you? Now you're going to see. So the arguments is, we have to move on. Okay, now, starting, if you know how many religions and cults we have today in the world. Do you have an idea how many? More than 80,000 religions and cults. We know 5, 6, and we already think it's too much. Most of them are cults. What's the difference between a cult and religion? The number of followers. In the beginning, it was 300 people, so we call it a cult. After 1,000 years, it became 1 billion people, it became religion. If it's 600 million followers, it became a religion. Which religions we are going to examine right now? We don't have, obviously, time to start checking 80,000 little cults out there. So we're going to address the 3 major religions: Judaism, Islam, and Christianity. Why am I going to speak about Christianity and Islam? Not because I suspect you want to convert to Christianity or to Islam. That's not the point. The reason I'm going to speak in the next 10 minutes about Christianity and Islam is I'm going to prove to you, I'm going to dedicate 5 minutes to each one of them to prove to you that there can never be a religion of God. Prove to you, not believing. Believing means not knowing. 100% prove that the Quran and the New Testament for sure was not given by God. It was written by people like us, and it's full of human errors. Then when I go to the Torah, it will help you to see the difference between an original divine book to a fake book. You're going to see the difference right away. Let's start. Let's start a little bit about Islam. It's about 1400 years old, the Islam. One day, a person named Muhammad came from the desert and he claimed that Angel Gabriel gave him the Quran. How many witnesses he brought to that story? Not even one. As the Quran described, he came by himself and now he has a book. The Quran, the Islam, starts right away with 50% doubt. Maybe he got it from the angel, maybe he did not get it from the angel. We have no way to know because there's no witnesses. When we open the Quran, we are anxious to find mistakes. If we're going to find 1 or 2 mistakes, then we know it's not divine. We send Muhammad with his book to the pages in history. We're not interested in his book. Why? It's not divine. If it's divine, I must pay attention carefully to his book. If I prove that it has human error, I don't want to waste another minute on it. Let's see what Muhammad had to tell us in his Quran. We have it right in front of us here, as you can see the English translation, a meeting between Pharaoh and Haman. Now I want to make clear one thing. Christianity and Islam never in history dare to deny that the Jews received the Torah from God in Mount Sinai. The opposite. They write about it in their book many times. The Quran speaks about Moshe, Musa, the nation, the chosen people, the nation of God, and they were in Egypt, and Pharaoh hated them, and God took them out of Egypt, and he promised them the land. It's all in the Quran. What do they claim? They claim that the Jews betrayed God so many times that he lost his patience to them, and now they are the important religion. And it chose Muhammad to be one more prophet after all the prophets. They never denied that the Torah is divine, that the prophets are divine, nothing whatsoever. For instance, if you go to the Hamas website, when they speak about Jacob, they write Israel in parentheses, peace be on him. Israel, peace be on him, in the Hamas website. King David, peace be on him. Why? They know this is all holy people. King Solomon, peace be on him. This is all Jewish people. Why peace be on them? Because they know it's all divine. They just claim the Quran is one more divine book, and we know for sure that it's not. Here is an example why it's not. The person who wrote the Quran had a knowledge like a first grade kid in yeshiva today. Why am I saying it? Because if you take my little son that goes to first or second grade, and I ask him, tell me, is it possible that Haman and Pharaoh sat together and had a meeting? He will know right away that Haman is from Megillat Esther, and Pharaoh is from Egypt, which was 1,000 years prior to Haman. There is no way in a history that Pharaoh and Haman had that meeting that is described right here in a Surah 40 in front of your eyes. You can write you don't have to write, it's in the DVD. But here is an example. How do you know right away that a book can never be given by God? Because God knows history. There's no way that Pharaoh and Haman met together. Haman was born 1,000 years after Pharaoh. The person who took the figure that called Pharaoh from the Torah, from Genesis, and he took Haman from Megillat Esther, which is a part of the Bible, and he decided to fake a conversation between them. One mistake he made. There was no way that that conversation ever took place. Let's give another example. This is all the sources here. The wife of Pharaoh raising Moshe. Big mistake. Who raised Moshe Rabbeinu? The daughter of Pharaoh. Batya, Bat Paro. Batya, the daughter of Pharaoh. One little mistake. Instead of the daughter of Pharaoh, they wrote Eshet Paro, the wife of Pharaoh. And now, another critical mistake. What is the critical mistake? Moshe had a sister named Miriam. Moshe, Aaron, and Miriam, right? They took Miriam, which lived 3,300 years ago, and they took Miriam, the mother of Yossi, that lived 2,000 years ago, and they mixed her into one woman. Miriam, the sister of Moshe, became the mother of Yossi. How did they make such critical mistake? They made mistake between the Miriams. Where is it? Let's see. The Virgin Mary became the sister of Moshe and Aaron. When Maria brought the baby in her hand to the people of her town, they told her, "Oh, Maria, what a strange thing you brought. Oh, the sister of Aaron. Your father wasn't a bad man and your mother wasn't a prostitute. Maria, the daughter of Amram." Do you understand what we're talking here about? 2 billion people follow Christianity, and Christianity in every chapter have so many human errors that after reviewing it carefully, you don't know if to laugh or to cry. It's so silly that it's really ridiculous. If you don't believe me, watch my debate with a Christian priest. I had a debate on the New Testament. In Hebrew we say, you ripped him apart. In the end, he say to me, you put me in a hole, I don't know, I'm going to dig myself out of there. I told him, no, I didn't put you in a hole, I just proved to you that Christianity is a false religion, it's not from God. He didn't say no. That's after teaching Christianity in a university in Manhattan for 31 years. He said, but my heart doesn't let me live it. I'm in it. It was good to me over the years. So I say to him, a heart is an illusion. The Muslim, before he explode and kill innocent people, he also go with his heart. Heart is nothing, it's nonsense. We talk logic, brain, not heart. We talk knowledge, not feelings. Feelings, a person take a little pill or drugs and he has beautiful feelings that is flying. That's not the truth. We are talking common sense. And I proved to you that I just showed you more than 50 human errors in the New Testament. Silly contradiction that God doesn't make such foolish mistakes. And obviously, he had nothing to say. Until this moment, 3 years since that debate, we didn't get even one answer from him until this moment. So, we move on. This is parts from the Quran that prove that the land of Israel belongs only to the Jews, since there was no Palestinian nation until 100 years ago. Nobody knew who they are. They didn't have an anthem. They didn't have a flag. They don't have any history. There's no history Palestinians. No, there was a bunch of Arabs. All of a sudden it became Palestine. Why they call themselves Palestine? It's after Philistines. But Philistines is a different nation. It's nothing to do with the Arabs. But since the Philistine lives in Gaza, the Philistine is in the time of Samson, so they named themselves after that nation, the Philistine, the Plishtim. But they have nothing to do with them. It's a bunch of Arabs that came from all over and decided to call themselves like a new nation. But, as you can see, this is all from the Quran. I don't have time to waste on that. If you have doubts, you come to me after the lecture. I'll give you the sources. That it says that the land in the Quran belonged to the Jews because God promised them and He protected them and He took them out of Egypt and He gave them the Holy Land. Let's move on. Here, that's all in English here. I give you a second to review it. This is sources from the Quran that the land belongs only to the nation of Israel without any partners, as you can see right in front of you. Okay, let's move on. I'm going to skip some of the things here. So the conclusion of everything here, the city of Jerusalem is not mentioned in the Quran, not even once. Not one time the Quran mentioned the word Yerushalayim or Jerusalem. The Quran says that if you have a doubts about something that the Quran speaks about, you have to go to the Torah to clarify it. Why? Because the Torah is higher. It's in the Quran. In the Tanakh it said that Yerushalayim belongs to the Jews. So where is the argument? According to your book, it says if there's a doubt about something, you go to the Tanakh, to the Torah. The Torah says the land belongs to Israel. Conclusion, according to the Quran, Quran is one of the best proof that Israel belongs to the nation of Israel. But since the Israeli politicians have no idea what the Torah says, perhaps they never read it once in their life, when they stand with all these terrorists in the United Nations, they know the Torah much better, so they know how to manipulate, to deceive them. But they have no idea, they don't know history, they don't know Torah, they don't know authentic documents. David Ben-Gurion was holding the Tanakh in the United Nations in 1947 and said, this is our proof to the land, this is the title. He knew a little bit Torah. Today they don't know, so they don't go into these religion arguments. Let's move on. Okay, now, as you can see, all the things I spoke about, they are all in English. You're going to see it in a video. Let's move on. Let's talk a little bit about Christianity. 2,000 years ago, there's a woman named Miriam. She meets a Jewish person named Yosef. They're both Jewish. They get engaged. He doesn't touch her. They didn't move in together. He goes out of town to work to make some money and to establish a Jewish home. He comes back after a few months and he found out that his fiancée is pregnant. He asked her what happened. Obviously, what is she going to say? A Roman soldier made me pregnant? What's the punishment to a woman that is already got a ring on her finger and got a ketubah and went and had relation with another man? It's execution. To save her from execution, the only way she could save herself is by making some kind of bizarre story. God came to me in a dream and made me pregnant. Yeah? So, people used to be very modest. All she had to do, she said, I'm a virgin. Obviously, he's not going to ask her, let me take you to Dr. Cohen to check if you're a virgin or not. So what did he say? Oh, yeah? Okay, let's get married. Then they had a boy, JC. He goes to yeshiva, he puts tefillin, he has bar mitzvah, and he dies as a Jew. Now comes the arguments. According to all opinions, between 70 to 300 years after his death, people begin to speak about him. Pay attention again. At least 70 years after he died, nobody cared who he was, nobody made him holy, no books was written about him, nothing. There are different opinions, but according to the most lenient opinion, is at least 7 years after his death. Strict opinion, 300 years after. I want to ask you a question. If I came today to give you a speech about my grandfather that lived in Iraq 70 years ago, I can say whatever I want about him. He walked on water, he was a holy man, every person he touched got cured. You know, God spoke to him every morning, say hello, good morning, Saba Yosef, your breakfast is ready. Whatever I say, you either believe me or not. I cannot supply with any proof, and you cannot deny anything I say. It's your word against my word. You're either with me or against me, and that's how Christianity starts. How many witnesses Mary had that God came to her in a dream? None. Cannot prove a dream, right? Now comes the problem. Let's assume that everything I say, forget about it for a minute. Let's say we don't know the history of Christianity, how it started, but we have the book. Now we review the New Testament. In the beginning, in the first page, we find a major tragedy over there. What's the tragedy? The biggest forgery in history in the first page of the New Testament. What is it? They describe more than 35 religions from King David to Joseph the carpenter, because they're trying to prove that Joseph is a grandson of King David. Why it's so important? Because since they say that the Torah is 100% divine, they just claim God gave book part 2, part 1, part 2, the Old Testament and the New Testament. Same God, just part 2, right? So now, in part 1, no one argued that God said that the Messiah has to come from the family of King David. Mashiach ben David. Messiah, the son of David. How do you prove that Joseph the carpenter is from the family of David? You have to show all the generation from King David to Joseph the carpenter. But then comes the mistake. After supposedly they proved that Joseph the carpenter is a grandson of King David, they begin to tell the story. Joseph met Mary, he went out of town, he came back, he saw she's pregnant. What did you do? Don't worry, I didn't cheat. God came to me, he promised me this son is holy from birth, he's going to be the Messiah, and that's how Christianity begins. Let's assume we believe all this nonsense. Let's assume we believe it. We're not arguing with the miracle part of the story, because the Torah is also full of miracles, but we're arguing with one question. Who was the father of JC? Who was the mother of JC? Miriam. Everybody saw where the baby came from. Cannot argue. Who is his father? When you ask the Pope, who is the father of JC? He's thinking for a minute. And he say, God. Son of God, they call him. God made her pregnant. God is a grandson of King David? Why did you waste a whole page to prove that Joseph the carpenter belonged to the family of King David, when right after that, you write that he's not the biological father? Isn't it first grade mistake, or I'm exaggerating? First grade. First grade. But it gets better. You go to another book. You have the book of Mark, you have the book of Matthew, John, Luke, 4 of the evangelists, 4 different books. In one book, they describe King David all the way to Joseph the carpenter. In another book, they describe it again. 22 mistakes. 22 contradictions between one book to another. Imagine, you open the Torah in Sefer Bereshit. Abraham is the father of Yitzchak. Yitzchak is the father of Yaakov. Yaakov is the father of Joseph. Joseph is the father of Menashe. Then you go to Sefer Vayikra. Yitzchak is the father of Abraham. Abraham is the father of Yeshayahu. Yeshayahu is the father of John. John is the father of Yosef. Yosef is the father of Mustafa. 2 books. What happened to God? He doesn't remember the chronological order of the generations? And he wants me to put feeling? Come on. This is 1 mistake, 2 mistakes right there. The Torah said that the nation of Israel, Jacob went to Egypt with 70 people all together. You open the New Testament, Jacob went to Egypt with 75 people. What happened to God? He doesn't remember how many people went to Egypt? In one book he writes 70, and in another book he writes 75. And many other examples, as we said. Now, the Torah described that Abraham bought the Me'arat HaMachpelah, the cave, from Ephron HaChiti. It's in the city of Hebron. You open the New Testament, guess what? It says that it's in the city of Shechem, Nablus. Everybody knows where the cave is. You go to Hebron, you see a big building. Everybody always knew. But the writer of the New Testament somehow forgot that it's in Hebron, and he wrote that it's in Shechem. Imagine I bring you a book and I say, God gave me the book. Dear brothers and sisters, you have to follow me. This is our book. Yeah, what is it? You open it up, the first page. What's the first page? The Twin Towers collapsed in Brooklyn. That's what it says. and I have the nerve to say that God gave me the book. How long it will take you to kick me out of the window? How long? It's right there in the New Testament.
They never said that God wrote the New Testament. They said the followers listened to them and put it after him. The followers made it.
No, they say every word is holy also.
Wrong what you just said.
Okay.
Next time, I tell you, I give you one hint in life. I don't argue about things I don't know. Promise you, it's not the case. If that was the case, the priest wouldn't come to the debate. The whole debate is on a concept that the 4 books, they claim it's like the same thing Yeshayahu and Yirmiyahu and all the other prophets. They just come and say this is a continuation.
Because everyone has its own authors. Matthew.
No, 100%, but they hold it as... no, I have to tell you something. If they never claim that those books are divine, then there's no religion. Religion can only be on a divine book. If there's no divine book, it's just it's a culture club. It's a member club. It's a VIP organization. It's not a religion. Religion is based on a divine book. That's nobody argue with that. Let's move on. Hold your questions because most likely you won't have them in another few minutes.
I have 2 comments concerning what you already said.
Yes.
First comment is Talmud says in Sotah that when a woman is raped, even if she is married or engaged, she should not die. So Maria could easily say, instead of fabricating stories about God that she made pregnant, she could easily say that somebody raped her.
That's great.
This is one.
But he wouldn't marry her. He wouldn't conclude the marriage. If you went away and you found that your fiancé already have a baby from some rapist on the street, believe me, you would think a million times to conclude that marriage and move in with her.
Another thing is that most of the mistakes that we detect here, they are very, very simple mistakes. I mean, if Muhammad really wanted people to believe that he is prophet, he could just read another time Torah and not to make so simple mistakes.
He was illiterate, unfortunately.
No. Don't you think it's like...
Muhammad was illiterate.
All right, okay, let's move on. I answer you, but I mean, all these questions are not so important. Hold the questions to the end because in the end, those questions will disappear. But I will answer you anyway. You have to understand one thing. Muhammad called by the Muslim Prophet Muhammad. If you find one prophecy in the Quran, I give you a major prize. In the entire Quran, you don't have even one prophecy. Not also in the New Testament. Those 2 books, the New Testament and the Quran, has no prophecies. The Torah is full of prophecies in every chapter. Why? The Torah speaks mainly about the future. Muhammad knew he's not a prophet. That's why he never claimed to give a prophecy. But they call him Prophet Muhammad when the Quran does not even have one prophecy to the future. Go and check. If you show me, I'm willing to correct myself. But I've been checking it for years. Not even one prophecy in the Quran. Now let's move on. The Torah speaking about phony religions. The Torah speaking about it. The Torah says right here in front of you, there will be days that God will be upset with his children, the nation of Israel. What's going to be the outcome? He's going to spread us in all the nations. והפצתי אתכם בעמים. I'll spread you in all the nations. And ונשארתם מתי מספר בגויים. Only few of you will survive among those goyim, those Gentiles. As God is directing you there. You will follow phony gods over there. Man-made. Wood and stone. That cannot do anything. What's wood and stone? Wood is Christian. Knock on wood. The cross, the wood cross. That's their symbol. What's the symbol of Islam? The big rock, the big stone in Mecca, in Saudi Arabia. Every year in Ramadan, 2 million Muslims go to Saudi Arabia to that stone. So the religion of the stone and the religion of the wood, 2 phony religions, the Torah speaking about it. Jews will follow that nonsense. The Torah already warned us. But I know what you're thinking. You say, maybe it's coincidence. This is not a scientific proof. What I'm showing you right now here, it's a nice coincidence that the Torah is speaking about wood and stone, and you already decided that it's Christianity and Islam. But here comes the proof. Where is the proof? You know that inside the Torah there are codes hidden. One of the major proofs that the Torah is divine, that the Torah is full of mathematical equal skips that giving us hidden codes inside the Torah. Now what's special about the codes? One thing is special, that technically it's impossible for a human being to write a book that describes 1,000 years of history, and inside the book make thousands of equal mathematical skip without changing the meaning of the story. Even one page, putting 3 codes in one page, no person in the world can do. If I tell you to write me 1 page of what happened to you in the last week, and you have to write the truth, what happened to you in the last week, from morning to night, every day. And inside that story, I'm giving you 3 names. I want you to hide inside Yitzhak Rabin in equal mathematical skip, Saddam Hussein in equal mathematical skip, and Alexandros Mokdon in equal mathematical skip. Go and check how many thousands of years it's going to take you to make this page. Now, I'm not talking about 3 codes.
That's not hard. Therefore, all the piety existed.
No, you have to understand. Every time you want to make sure that, for instance, you have Yitzhak Rabin in equal mathematical skip, first you remember, you first bind to the story. You have to write the truth. Now you come and see, from the first yud, you want to make a code. So you want, let's say you say, every 50 letter, it's going to be a letter. Yitzhak, yud, then 50 letters, tzaddik, 50 letter chek. But the 50th letter is not tzaddik. So you have to change the word. And it's changing the history. It's impossible. Every time you're going to move words, you're going to change the authentic story. Now, we are not talking about 3 words. I'm talking thousands of words. Thousands of words in equal minimal mathematical skip that they all concentrate in one area in the Torah based on subjects. And the best part is that almost always the hidden codes are related to the subject of that chapter. For instance, the word AIDS. In what chapter in the Torah it appears? And the only place in the Torah that speaks about homosexuality, right there, the word AIDS is in equal mathematical skip. Where? Sodom and Gomorrah. The people of Sodom came to rape the guest of Lot. Lot is trying to protect them. They say, no, we're not interested in your daughters. We want them. Take them out and we can rape them. Right there, AIDS, disease in the blood, from the monkeys. All the words that relates to AIDS in the page that's speaking about why God brought this sickness to the world. Now I'll give you another example. There's one chapter in the Torah speaking about the Holocaust. God says to Moshe, after you die, there will be a generation that they will rebel against me so much that would leave me no choice but to send the Goyim, the Gentiles, after them to destroy them. And that will be their punishment for betraying me all these years. Right over there, in a description of a complete Holocaust, the word HaShoah, the Holocaust, is in the same page that's speaking about Holocaust in equal skip of 50. More than 30 words that relates to the Holocaust in one chapter in the Torah. Adolf Hitler, Adolf Eichmann, Rudolf Hess, the final solution, Zyklon B, ghetto. Words that connects to the Shoah. You decide if it's possible that randomly, accidentally, they all concentrate in one page that's speaking about the Holocaust.
And also September 11th.
September 11th, Saddam Hussein, George Bush, Yitzhak Rabin, same mutual resh with Yigal Amir, the murderer. We have Yitzhak Rabin, who murdered him, Yigal Amir. They have a mutual resh. The resh of Rabin and the resh of Amir, one resh. They crossed each other. 3,300 years before they were born, the Torah hid them in equal codes. Why am I telling you all that? For us to understand what I'm going to show you here. Listen good. The Torah says, you're not going to survive there. Only few of you will survive. I'll spread you in all the nation. There's every country in the world you have Jews. Everywhere. And this is a part of our punishment. And the Jews started in the same generation like the Chinese people. 4,200 years ago, after the big flood, there were 8 people survived. Noah and his wife, Shem, Ham, and Yefet, and their 3 wives. Shem, someone who hates Jews, we call him anti-Semite, because Sem is the son of Noah, that was the righteous son. We, the Jews, came from Sem. That's why we are the Semites. Someone who hates us, his name is anti-Semite. Okay? And now, you can see that in that generation, if you read in the Torah in Parashat Noach, what does it say? It says right there, Vayoled et Asini, the grandson of Noach from Ham, was the Chinese. So the Chinese and the Jews started in the same generation. How many Chinese you have? Close to 2 billion. And they have restriction on birth, only 1 kid allowed. Jews do not have any restriction on birth. 13.2 million Jews, that's it. Why? Because of this page in the Torah. What is the curse here? Because you don't listen to me, because you don't follow my Torah, what's going to be the result? I will spread you in all the nations, only few of you will survive, and over there you will have the nerve to continue betraying me by following a religion of the wood and the religion of the stone, fake gods that cannot do anything.
This is from our Torah?
In our Torah, in Sefer Dvarim, chapter 4. Yud, you count 50 letters, you get Shin. You count 50 letters, you get Vav. Yeshu, JC. What he was talking about, a religion of the wood and religion of the stone. Yeshu in equal skip.
Why don't we have Mohammed here?
Hala, next. What's the next thing? Mecca, Mem, 50 letters, Chaf, 50 letters, Yud. You see? Mem, Chaf, Hey, equal skip. Yeshu and Mecca, Mecca it's the city of the Muslims, Yeshu is the symbol of Christianity, are hidden inside the text that's speaking about 2 fake religions. The religion of the wood and the religion of the stone. Can something like this be coincidence? What do you think? Now remember, this is 1,300 years before JC was born. There was no JC, nobody knew who he is. This is 1,800 years before Islam started. Nobody knew that one day Mecca will be important. But the Torah knew. Yes?
I just have a question. If you had some other passage on the wall, we're only looking for 3 letters. So, I mean, are you saying that no other passage would have these 3 letters?
Okay, now, in order to answer you, I will have to explain to you how codes work. And it will take me 15 minutes. I'll try to do it in 30 seconds.
This is related to the story.
I want to tell you, there are a lot of liars and manipulators in the world that are trying to take advantage on the ignorance of the public and try to claim that their books also have codes. For instance, Christian also was trying to do use in it. Some people claim that you have codes in all different kinds of books, like Moby Dick and other books. Now, why they can take advantage on the ignorance of the people? Because all you have to do is to take a one word from the discovery and you change all the meaning. When we tell the computer to search for codes, we don't tell him to check for random codes. We're not interested, like you say, in random codes. In every book that have 304,805 letters, there's going to be hundreds of random codes. I don't care about them. I tell the computer equal minimal. Remember, minimal skip. For instance, if I put in a computer the word George Bush, and it appears in the Torah 10 times, I don't care about the 9 other times. I only tell him, give me the minimal skip. Why? That it will be in one page. I don't want one letter here, one letter in another 10,000 letters, and another one 10,000 letters. It spreads all over the Torah. I'm not interested in that. You know why? Because that's random.
No, my
Wait. The smaller the skips are, it shows you that it's not coincidence. It goes directly to that page, which means somebody planned it. Now, first word can be coincidence. When you enter a second word and it comes in the same page, the chance that it will be coincidence is much, much, much smaller. So I'll tell you the statistic. The statistic is that it's going to be 2 words that have 5 letters in one page accidentally is 1 to 680 million, statistically. Which means, if you have a person, his name is Gabriel, and his last name is, I don't know, Smith, whatever, these 2 words relates to each other, right? The chances that they will appear in one page in equal skip is 1 to 680 million, randomly in one page. We're not interested in 1 here and 1 there. 3 words, it's impossible already.
But those 2 words not related at all. One is a person name, another is a city. If you have, for example,
Sure they're related. We're speaking about phony religion. Of course they're related.
Mecca and Jerusalem, or if you have
No. Yeah. Okay, let's move on. Let's move on. I didn't get to one proof yet. Okay. Shh. All right. Now, one other thing. When we open the New Testament, how many versions the Christianity books has?
versions.
How many different versions?
Originally it was over 64.
More than 150,000 different books. Each book is different than the other in somewhere. In names, in dates, in pages are missing, different names. 150,000 different versions. Why? How did it happen? The first person who wrote the New Testament, the first person, this is the person right here in the middle. Here, look at this. He's right here. He brought the original text. This person copied from him, and he made one mistake. A book that has 300,000 letters, and you have to write it with feather and ink, for sure you make at least one mistake, right? If not 100 mistakes. But I go on a minimum. Minimum is one mistake. So he copied it, he made one mistake. He made the Yud Vav, he made it a little bit longer. It became a Vav. Or he made the Chaf look like a Nun. It's very similar letters. This person made a mistake in a different place. How many differences you have between him and him? Already 2 differences. He made a mistake in Vav, and he made a mistake in Nun. Now, if you compare this book to this book, in 2 places, there's different letters. 2 places already. He copied from him, he made one mistake. Now you already have 4 versions. 1, 2.
Well, the first one.
Whether it was, it's not important. Just get the point. The point is somebody brought that book. He claimed God gave it to him. That's the God's book, the divine book, supposedly. Now there is already, in one day, 4 versions. He copied from him, he also made mistake, there's already 5 versions. 6, 7, 8. After 2,000 years, 150,000 different versions. 150,000 different versions. Quran, how many different Qurans? Hundreds. The Muslims, it's only 1,400 years. That's 2,000 years. It's a snowball. But not only that. The Muslims are much more careful when they copy than the Christians, because they knew it's supposed to be divine. But still, the Palestinian Quran, the Iranian Quran, the Saudi Arabian Quran, you put them one next to the other and you see many different changes. Now, if the book was really divine, if the Quran was really from God, if the New Testament was really from God, even if so, it's gone. Why? Show me from 150,000 different texts which one is the one. We don't know. Now, if you know, if you write the Torah and you skip one word or one letter, it's not kosher. You cannot use it. It's almost like a piece of paper, nothing. You can put it in a suitcase with El Al, and they throw it in the luggage. Why? One letter is missing. It's not divine anymore. It's human. One letter you take out of a divine book, it became human. It's not holy. It's holy only when it's perfect the way he was given by God. If people modify it even by one letter, it's not holy anymore. Since we have two major religions that they themselves cannot show which one the original book, even if it was true, it's gone. What is it like? Imagine I have a diamond, 100 carat diamond, $100 million. And I came here and I show you this beautiful pink diamond. And each one of you knew that I'm going to present this diamond, and you made an exact, perfect imitation of my diamond. And once I present my diamond, all of you got up and threw your diamonds at me. I got very nervous, my diamond fell on the floor. Now we have 100 diamonds here, but only one of them is real. Now I'm looking for mine. I do not know. You made a perfect imitation. Maybe this one, maybe this one. A minute ago, it was $100 million. Each one I pick up now, right now, doesn't worth $50. Even the real one, it doesn't work anymore. Why? We will never know. It's gone. So even if there was a real book, it's gone. This is what I told the priest. So even if your book was real, anyway, it's gone. So what are we arguing here? Your religion, before it started, it's over. But here, the Jews, everybody ran after the Jews to destroy them and their book. Everybody. And the Jews were able to keep the same Torah. Go to Russia today, same Torah. Go to Yemen, same Torah. Go to Syria, same Torah. Go to Iran, same Torah. Come here in Brooklyn, same Torah. From the beginning to the end, same Torah. Everybody wants to destroy the Torah. The Jews they had restriction. They couldn't learn the Torah. It was a life risk. To copy it, please, no more comments, please. To write the Torah with a feather, 305,000 letters, all over the world, 3,320 years, and in the end they all brought the same Torah to Israel when they came. What does it tell you? Do you understand the difference between an authentic religion to a fake one? Let's move on. Let me show you some of the... First of all, that's, by the way, the reason why we were able to keep the Torah, because God was very strict about it. He said, if you're going to modify my Torah, you're risking your life. It's not a joke here. What human being has a permission to take a divine book and modify it in any way? Then, let's skip some of the things. Now I'm going to show you the first proof for tonight. I've been speaking an hour and I still didn't get to the first proof. But that's okay, I'm counting on my DVDs to do the job. But let's show you one proof, at least one or two, before I send you home. Shh, listen good. The Torah says, go and check in a history. From the day that God, here, it's right here in English. I'm tired to turn back, so I'm going to tell you by heart, and you go and review it right behind me. Come, God, to the Jews and say, go and check in a history. This part in front of you right here applies to every Jew from the beginning of the world to the end of the world, because the Torah is the same Torah, it never changed. Come, God, and refer to each one of us today and say, go check in the back, in a history. Did you ever see an event of a group of people that I came to them and gave them some kind of book, or made miracle for them, or spoke to them in public as I did to you? Did a group of people ever heard the voice of God speaking from the fire as I did to you? What is it saying here? Please focus on this, it's worth it for me. Just this. The Torah promise, even though there is 80,000 religions and cults, 80,000, from the minute it was written until today, at least 80,000 different religions. It will never start with the story of a group of witnesses. Never. Always one person and no more. I, God, will prevent such an incident that a group of goyim, of non-Jews, will come and claim, even as a lie, they decide how to fake a lie, and they come and say, we were in the desert and God came to us and He gave us that book, or He spoke to us, even as a lie, I will never let a group of goyim claim that I spoke to them or gave them anything or did something for them. It will always be one individual. Why? One individual, you have to be a fool to believe him. Show me a proof. Bring me 2 witnesses. Proof. I can come and say, I just came from the moon. Where you came from, Rabbi? I just landed from the moon. Prove that I'm wrong. No, I have to prove that I'm right. What do you mean prove that I'm wrong? Prove that you don't have a sister. How do you know? Maybe she's in Japan, maybe she's China. You check in China, she moved to Japan. You go to Japan, she moved to Iran. So how you can prove something that you don't have? You have to prove what you have. I come and I say, God spoke to me. Do I have a proof? If I have a solid proof, it pays to listen. If I don't have anything, I have to be a fool to believe me. Only that, there's no other word. 80,000 times somebody comes and fake a religion. Not once he thought to bring 2 or 3 witnesses. How can it be? Imagine Muhammad, he wasn't a fool. He was charismatic. Look how many people he fooled. He comes to his Muslim Bedouin, Falahim in the desert, to all his cousins and neighbors, and he said, the angel gave me the Quran. All he had to do is take few Mustafas and Saeed and Muhammads, few of them Ahmedim, 5 Ahmedim, 4 Mustafas. He brings them together. He gives $100 to each one of them. He gives them a page to learn by heart. See? Here, learn this page 100% by heart. December 21st, there's a lecture. Learn everything. Learn it. He gives them 1 month to learn 1 page. 1 month. And then now they know the page by heart. Now comes the event. He brings the 5 Mustafa, the 5 Saids, they all come together, and they come and say, Allahu Akbar, everybody, you don't know what happened. We were walking in the desert with Muhammad, he was showing us something, all of a sudden a light came down, and he came and he put a book in his hand, and we swear, and they swear, and that's it. Now you have 10 witnesses. He bribed them. And this will be the first mistake in the Torah, and finish Judaism in 1 minute. Why? If we find 1 mistake in the Torah, it's all over. The Torah promised something like this will never happen. 80,000 times it almost happened, and always in the end there was 1 person.
Where does it say in the Torah that it was promised that that's the way it's going to be? Where does it say?
I'll go back to the Hebrew to make it easier for you. Here. Where does it say? Sefer Dvarim, chapter 4, verses 32 to 35. Hashama Am Lamed Bet Lamed Hey. Okay, so now, what do you see here? Why Muhammad didn't bribe them? You know why? Imagine I try to fake a religion, and I pay each one of you $100. All you have to say, that you saw God speaking to me, and you're free. Big deal. 1 little lie. Worth $100, no? Why don't I say it? Why didn't I fake? Obviously, I'm not a fool. I know if 20 of you will come and say that you swear that you saw God giving me the book, then it's going to make me much, much stronger with my lie. Then I come by myself. So why Muhammad didn't bring 5 of his cousins? When you bring fake witnesses, you become a prisoner in their hand. Why? Tomorrow come this Mustafa and say, hey, listen, Muhammad, you became a prophet. Everybody bow down to you, give you donations. Look at me, I take care of the sheep. I want another $10,000. I can't pay my mortgage. Now, if I don't give it to him, what happened? He blackmailed me. Hey, I have an announcement. 2 years ago, remember that we all stood. He gave us these pages. It was all a lie. It's a big risk. You're asking people to lie for you in the testament. First of all, one of them will be a fool. It will be a contradiction. Everybody know you're a liar. Second, you are always in their hand. They can blackmail whatever they want from you. If you don't give me this, I'll say you're a liar. You don't give me this, or you made a rule and they don't like it, they come after you. Nobody wants partners in the leadership, right? Obama doesn't want another Obama next to him. He wants to be only him. Imagine Ahmadi will have another Ahmadi. It's impossible to have another one like this, but imagine, it's already impossible. All right, so let's move on. Now comes the dialogue between Moshe and Hashem. What's the dialogue? Technically, God comes to Moshe and says, I want you to go take my nation out of Egypt. What does Moshe say? I'm not interested. Nobody would believe me anyway. God doesn't get angry at him, as he should have. And he say, no, they're right. Why should they listen to you? But I am coming to speak to you in front of them, and after that they believe in you forever. You got it or no? Here. ויען משה ויאמר הם לא יאמינו לי, they won't believe you. They will say God didn't come to you. And God answer him. God say, I'm coming to you from the clouds that they all will hear that I'm speaking to you, and they believe in you for eternity. And only after that Moshe agreed to speak to them. Why am I showing you this? When Moshe brought the book to the nation of Israel, this is the only book in history, that was given to the actors in the movie. I repeat, here I come, I bring a book. You don't know where I brought it. I say, ladies and gentlemen, God gave me this book to give it to you. I am the prophet, he is God, and you are the nation. You have to change your life from A to Z. You have to keep Shabbat, you have to eat kosher, you have to do this, you have to be modest. I give you a list of restrictions. Right away you get annoyed. Oof, this fanatic guy just showed up, already tell us what to do. What's the chance that 3 million people would say, yes sir, what do you want? Shabbat? Of course. No drugs? Of course, no more drugs. No more cheating? Of course, no more cheating. What else? To eat kosher? No problem. Whatever you say, what's the chance? You make one Jew religious, your heart comes out until you agree to keep one mitzvah. 3 million people say, yes, Mr. Moshe, we are with you. It gets better. When they open the Torah, they see they have to get divorced now. Thousands of them marry their aunt. The Torah says you cannot be married to your aunt, you cannot touch her. It's illegal. What do you mean it's illegal? I have 10 children. You should have told me that 5 years ago. Now it's too late. I love her. We have kids. I'm sorry. I'm not God. God gave me the book. Okay, they prepare cows for the holiday of Shavuot. I'm sorry, you have to throw all the meat to the garbage. 3 million people. Why to the garbage? Because you kill it with a regular knife. You need a special slaughtering knife. You have to check the animal. You have to put salt. There's rules. All the meat is not kosher. And there's no Mustafas here to sell it to them as halal meat. So all the meat goes to the garbage. And they still say, yes, Moshe, we'll get divorced. We'll throw all the cows to the garbage. What else do you want? How did it happen? How did it happen that the Jews were so soft and cooperating? One sentence in the Torah. You received the book from me. You do not know if I'm lying or not. You have to test me now. You read in the book 100 miracles. Blood, bread falling from heaven, the ocean split. You used to be slaves in Egypt. You came out. The Egyptian drowns. You have water in the middle of the desert. Clouds. So many things. Every firstborn in Egypt fell and died. And one of the things you read is that all of you heard me, Moshe, speaking to God. You heard the voice of God. Here comes the end of the argument. If you heard the voice of God, you have to be a fool not to obey the order of the book. Well, you just heard God 5 minutes ago. The book said that all of you heard God just an hour ago. If one of you didn't hear God, you say, excuse me, sir, you just gave us this copy, right? You say, God gave it to you. You say, we have to get divorced. You say, we have to throw all the meat to the garbage. We cannot cheat. We cannot steal. We have to keep Shabbat. You killed us. We're going to kill you before you kill us. You're a big threat to us. You know why? Because you're a liar. Why am I a liar? Because it says here that all of us heard you and God speaking. I didn't hear. She didn't hear. Anybody heard the voice of God? It's enough 1 out of 3 million Jews would raise his hand and say, excuse me, there's a mistake in a book. It's not from God. God doesn't make such mistakes. If it's from God, how did God lie to us and say that we heard his voice? Doesn't know that we never heard it? End of argument. Promise you, cannot be otherwise. That's the only way to take 3 million Jews in 1 hour and turn them to Hasidics. There's no other way. You know how sometimes people say, you know, you want me to be religious? If God will make an earthquake now, I'll be religious. You play the flute and God will dance according to your music. Tomorrow, if I'll get married, I'll be religious. If I'll make $1 million in my deal, I'll be religious. What else do you want? Doesn't work that way. Most people are not religious, those who believe in God, because they're not getting the request right away. God, I need right away 10,000 by tomorrow. Oh, it didn't come, I'm not religious anymore. When things are working out, is more religious. When things are not 100%, what's this religion? Look at me, 10 years I kept Shabbat, I didn't make $1 million yet. Here, my friend makes tattoos and he's already a millionaire. Every day he makes sins against God. He said not to make tattoos. All day he makes 2 people tattoos. He makes millions. I'm a rabbi and I don't have money for gas to come to Brooklyn. What's going on here? Where is the justice? What's the answer to this question? Let's use our head sometimes, once in a while. Not too much that we won't get tired. But once a year we're allowed to use our head. If everything that the Torah says would happen instantly, no free choice, no test, no nothing, everything will be over before it starts. I'll give you an example. The Torah says that people who are stealing, they would lose double. Not only they won't enjoy the money that they stole, they will lose double and get punished for the stealing. What? Not enjoying the stealing, lose double and still get a punishment in the afterlife. Very bad deal to steal. So somebody steals every day from his customers. He says, what nonsense is this Torah? 10 years I'm already stealing every day. No, where? Look at me. I have a house in Great Neck, a house in Beverly Hills, 5 Mercedes. And you, the rabbi, you ride a motorcycle, bicycle. Look at you. Wow, you compare your life to mine? If every thief, as soon as he stole $1,000, a minute later lost $2,000. He stole again $2,000, he lost right away $4,000. Do you know one person in a history will dare to steal?
No.
There's no free choice. Everyone is a robot. It's like a gun to your head. Imagine they say you give $1,000 to yeshivas, the donation. Thanks to that you'll be rich. You wrote $1,000, you put it in the hand of the rabbi, $2,000 fell in your backyard. Rabbi, come back. And take the $2,000, you're making an experiment. Here, take $2,000. Oh, $4,000 fell. Imagine if Arafat would hear, he would take the $40 billion that he hid in Switzerland and run to the yeshiva in Bnei Brak. Rabbis, come! It's too heavy. Why you brought us the money? Because according to the Torah, you give money, you right away, you double it. What life it would be? What do you need Torah for? You should not kill, you should not steal. What do you mean you should not? Do I have a choice? I kill, I explode right away. I light a cigarette on Shabbat, boom, explosion. So I won't do it, of course not. Do I deserve a reward for that? The Torah says 100 times, I'm testing you, I'm following you, I'm watching you, I'm reviewing you, I'm checking your heart, I'm checking your head, I will reward you in your end. So many nice verses. If it would be the way the secular Jews expect it to be, we don't need Torah for that. It's a gun to the head. With the gun to the head, even the Nazis would put tefillin. What's the question? I don't want to die. I don't do it for that tefillin. Why I give tzedakah? Because right away I make double. Why I don't steal? Because I love my money. I don't want to lose double right away. Why I keep Shabbat? My friend lit a cigarette. Yesterday was Shabbat. He lit a cigarette, explode. His cousin lit a cigarette, explode. Shabbat came. I froze. Moshe, shh, Leah, shh. Shabbat started. So what? Come. 2 people just died. I don't want to move. What do you mean you don't want to move? Shabbat. Of course. Everyone would stand like this the whole Shabbat. Believe me, they won't go to the bathroom. Why? The punishment is instant. That's what the people say. You know, I don't believe in God. Where was God in the Holocaust? If you read the Torah, you wouldn't ask this question. You know how many warnings he gave the nation of Israel until, unfortunately, he brought with this Holocaust? You know 80% of the Jews marry non-Jews in Europe? Do you know they violate Shabbat, they ate not kosher? It's true that they were religious people. Why they died with the not religious? Why? If only the not religious people will get cancer, only they will die, only they will have the Arabs after them, and everyone with a beard and peot like this and a Gemara in his hand, Arab is coming here. No, there's religious people here. I cannot kill them. I only kill people who don't keep Shabbat. What's the question? There's not going to be a free choice. But why religious people also got punished? Because they all violated one important rule. Why? One rule. The Torah says if a Jew that lives according to the Torah see a Jew that lives against the Torah, cannot ignore him. I go on Shabbat, I take my talit, I walk downstairs 8 o'clock in the morning, I walk to shul. I see my neighbor Itzik with his earring and 5 tattoos, taking his surfboard without a shirt, walking in the street of Tel Aviv on the way to the beach. Cigarette, telephone. What do? Pretend I don't see him. What am I going to talk to him now? He's going to the beach with a cigarette, I'm going to the shul. What happened? 70 years passed by, I died, I live like the Torah, now comes the reward time. God takes my soul, put me in a place of eternity full of pleasure as the Torah promised. What happened to this Itzik? I don't even want to start to describe you what happened to his soul. Whose fault it is? Me! I could have saved him. I spoke this lecture. Today wasn't so successful for me. Sometimes I do better, but for whatever reasons. But I gave this lecture maybe, 1,000 times in the last 15 years. You know how many thousands of Jews are fully religious thanks to this lecture alone and to my website that they go and listen to other topics? If it would be another 5,000 Jews like me in the world, not like me, they are much better. There are speakers who get to millions of people. But there will be another 5,000 little speakers. And each one of them will make 10,000 Jews religious. That's it. The problem will be over. So every Jew that knows a little bit how to speak and he knows some Torah could have made hundreds or thousands of Jews religious, because the Torah is the best product in history. All you have to do is to get 2 hours attention from the secular Jew. You show him that he has no idea what he lives for. He doesn't know the purpose of life. He cannot answer you one question about life. Nothing. He has no idea what's going on. What's the purpose of life? To get married. For that you could be a monkey. You don't need to get married. Monkey come to the safari. He woke up. He goes like this. The female, she runs. Right away. 2 minutes later, they have 2 little monkeys jumping on the trees. No diapers, no health insurance, no vaccine, no 3 hours traffic every day, no 5-7 years college, $100,000 tuition, and in the end, unemployed for 5 years. They don't have it. They don't have it. They don't have 30 years mortgage to pay for a place that you can sleep. Right away, so you saw the lion in the Bronx Zoo? 20 years, he get a 10. They bring him the food right to his place. Everybody come, take pictures of him like a model. What's the dream of every girl? Free! Right away, everybody come, take pictures. The monkey, they like the attention. You throw him a banana, forget it. They make a whole show for you. What's the purpose of life? To make money. So why 99% of the people in the world do not make barely living? 1% are millionaires. Now what's the rest? In Israel, 80% overdraft, problems, 2 jobs, 3 jobs. Here and there, you have 20 families that own Israel. Israel owned by 20 families. Show you an article. Everything in Israel, all the businesses, the building, real estate, the major companies, 20 families. What's the rest? Ordinary people that barely make a living. United States, 300 million people, 250 million of them below the poverty line. Especially now after 3 years. Almost everyone became poor in America. All the middle class became poor. You know how many foreclosures every day? The government said, the state of New York, you're not allowed to do foreclosures anymore. It will kill our country. The value of real estate will be $10,000 on a house. What are we going to do? America will go from trillions of dollars to peanuts. Comes the Arab, They'll buy all America in one check. Every house, 10,000, 5,000, like in Florida. You go, you buy 10,000 apartments, $1 million. They lost all the value. Brand new apartments in Las Vegas. Thousands of apartments are vacant. They just finished building them 2 years ago. Most of the buildings in Miami, half built, half vacant. That's the bank stopped the funding. Why? Real estate lost the value. This country is completely bankrupt. You don't know the details. Don't be impressed that the market went up in the last 2 years. Supposedly, this is companies that are international. They sell in China, they sell in Japan, they sell in Europe. And the whole world is coming down now. The question is, what's the purpose of all this? To make money? If that was the purpose, every person would have plenty of money. To be healthy, most people are sick. Most people are sick. Eyes problem, cancer, ulcer. There's a list of thousands of sicknesses. So what's the purpose? To be pretty, most people are not pretty. If to be a man, so why there are female? To be a female, why there's a man? What's the purpose of life? Not to be handicapped, so why there are handicaps? What? What? You give me one secular answer. What are we doing here?
Strive for happiness. That's it.
Oh, happiness?
Strive.
Okay, can you describe to me happiness in a secular point, from a secular point of view? Describe, define happiness.
That's a feeling. That's not a detail.
No. Feelings you can describe. Feelings can be described. Feelings.
Right now, here.
No.
Thousands of years of
No, yeah, I can prove to you that in a secular point of view, there's no way to describe the word happiness.
To search for pleasure.
Because whatever you're going to tell me, I will prove to you that the dog has it without any efforts. I give you an example.
What are you talking about? I play cards, I'm happy. Dogs don't play cards.
Dogs swim, dogs do sports. I give you an example. I give you an example. Stevie the dog, in Israel, they call the dogs in American names for whatever reason, I don't know why. Stevie the dog in Israel decided to have fun. Okay, now, and Itzik, the Israeli playboy guy, he also decided to have fun. Now, let's see how much Itzik has to sweat compared to Stevie the dog. Stevie the dog goes to the field, he moves his tail a little bit, right away, five female go like this. 2 minutes later, he's with her. 2 minutes later, Itzik comes to the club in Manhattan. 2 hours, the bouncer make him stand in the snow. It's not high society, you know. Look at his suit from Tel Aviv. It's not high style. After 2 hours, he has to give $50 to this black gorilla over there that stands the bouncer. $50 he put in his hand. Sometimes they push it back to him. Not good enough. $100. Okay, take $100. How long he worked for the $100? A day and a half, washing cars in a car wash. No, now he got into the club. Now he met Christine. She comes, right away, another $100 to buy her drinks. Then in the end, she disappeared. Then he has to come next week again. After 20 times he came, no, one Christine agreed. He had 5 minutes fun, then he got AIDS and he died. Stevie the dog doesn't have it.
I'm talking about Joseph. He has totally different story.
Are you serious? Are you serious? Are you really arguing? You really think?
I want to listen to you, not
No. So I tell you what, I like it, but I'm going to conclude it with one sentence from the Torah. And then you'll agree with me. What does the Torah say? Listen good. The Torah said, a man does not have any advantage on the animals. Nothing whatsoever. Mutar adam min ha'be'ema ayin. Mutar comes from yitaron, advantage. No advantage. Everything, the animals are better than us. They run faster, they're stronger. Even the monkeys, the chimpanzees, they have greater memory. They made in university a test on a computer. Every time they remember all the numbers in the right chronological order, they get 2 peanuts. They don't even look at the stage. I'll show you a clip, you won't believe it. Go like this. Right away, he hit 8 numbers. You give him 8 pictures in different orders. His job is to tell you how was the right order. All the students, top students from the university failed the test. The chimpanzee, automatically, he knows everything. So what? So we have no advantage from the animals. The eagle, he can see the whole world in 1 hour without paying $50,000 on airfare and take his shoes off and stand in security like a dog. Come to this room, show me your tefillin, or laptop, take it out. Sardines, sitting in a plane, eating tofu, whatever they give over there, dog meat. And then he doesn't have all this. The eagle, all over the world, doesn't need internet to search. Right away, see Manhattan, Paris, everything. My, great life. Water, plenty, for free. Food, goes on a little chick. Hop, eat it. Beautiful. They enjoy. 5 stars. The dogs come to my driveway. Every day you come in the morning, the squirrels. All the food is on the driveway. Yesterday they had Chinese, today Italian. For free. And they don't think we're eating leftover. What a variety. Don't know what to start with. See how they lick the bones? Everything very easy for them. They give birth. 2 minutes later, the deer runs. Ask your wife how many years she sweat until one kid became a man. And then in the end they call him, Itzik, you forgot about your parents? What do you want? I'm busy. Don't forget to sign your will to me, huh? Goodbye. After 20 years. I'm your mother, you know how much I died for you? Between me and you, the Torah gave the answer. The Torah said no advantage at all, except one. What is it? The divine soul that the person has in him. That's the only advantage that he has from all the species here. And that soul is going to be judged in the time of death in front of God. I want to ask you a question now.
There is one more difference. We can be creators also.
The animals are much more creative. Do you see how they build themselves places, houses, this, the birds, how they make the nest? What are you talking about? The best architects are the animals.
The same thing.
Huh?
They're just repeating the same thing. Okay. They're not creators.
You're right. You're right. The animals live with instinct, and we have choices, and we have variety. You're right. But that's not necessarily an advantage. Who say that to be creative is an advantage? Bottom line, many people can swear to you that 100 years ago life was 1,000,000 times better than today with all the technology that we have. It destroyed us in many ways. But the bottom line to finish the lecture is, if the soul is going to be judged for all the bad things that we did in our life against the Torah, why it's an advantage? Wouldn't it be better to be a monkey? Females for free, oceans for free, everything free, not worry. You ever saw a chimpanzee with gray hair? Look at me. You ever saw a bald chimpanzee? They don't have stress. They don't have stress. No, you never find an animal with gray hair. Never. Only people.
There is a orangutan, totally great.
No, it's from birth like this. What are you talking about? It didn't become gray from stress.
Ever heard about the silverback? Come on.
There's always one exception to the rule. All right.
I think I have an answer.
You want to be famous on the website, I guess. Okay.
What is the advantage? Why would we want to go through all this and then to be judged?
That's what my question is. I want to finish with this question.
Can I answer?
No. They're going to steal the show from me. Why I drove 2.5 hours to get here? That you give the answer in the end. Have mercy on me. I have a fast tomorrow. So anyway, I'll finish. This is the answer. Why it's an advantage to be judged? In this world, if the FBI caught you and they bring you to court, it's an advantage or disadvantage? It's a bad thing, no? Nobody is happy to go to be judged. Why? Because in this world, when you are judged, you either lose or you stay the same. Which means they think you're a murderer. You go, if they prove you're a murderer, your life is over. If they didn't prove, after all the suffering you went through for a few months, they say, sir, we apologize, goodbye, go home. In the meantime, your business is bankrupt, your marriage is finished, forget about all these problems. Let's assume after an hour they found out it wasn't you. So you didn't gain anything. You got what you had. Freedom, you had freedom, an hour later you got it back. But when you have a concept of reward and punishment, every second of your life is either a mitzvah or a sin. Depend on your choices. For instance, right now, all of you came here tonight. It's a huge mitzvah that you did. You came, you sat for 2 hours, you listened to 2 hours Torah. Some of you may think inside your heart right now, you know, it makes sense. I wish I knew this. The Torah is different than all the fake religion. What am I doing in my life? Maybe it's really time to start changing. Maybe I have to go to this guy's website. Maybe I have to watch this DVD. That's already a combination of many, many mitzvot, which would lead to even greater mitzvot, and eventually may save your soul. Those of you who will ignore tonight, tomorrow they'll forget it. They go back to routine, and nobody would remember a week from now that I was here. That's always like this. Some people get saved, some people go back to their nonsense, and they live like this for the rest of their life. The point is like this. Since it's 100% in your hand to win eternity full of pleasure, or God forbid to lose it and get the punishment that you deserve for rebelling against the book of God, you cannot blame anybody for the bad that will come to you. Only yourself. Since God gave you a ticket, and He said you have in your hand the power to materialize it to the greatest reward that you can imagine. All you have to do is follow my Torah. Torah in Hebrew means ora'ah. Torah, mar'at haderech, instruction. The divine book of instruction, the manual of life. I created you, what do you think? I will create the world and not teach the people what's the purpose of life? I made the whole world for the people. What's the point of putting him here in a test and not give them a book to teach them what they have to do? What's the point? In that case, why did I make them? So I made them and I gave them the Torah. Now it's a free choice. Nobody forces you to keep Shabbat. Nobody stands with a gun. You can do whatever you want. When you go to murder, who helps you? Who gives you the wisdom, the intelligence to buy the right gun, to aim, to hit, to hide? The police come, you hide, you made it, you made the money. Who gave you oxygen while you were killing someone? Who gave you the wisdom how to steal, how to cheat, how to forge, how to sneak? Who? While you're doing negative, God help you just as much as He help you when you do positive. Why? Because the Torah has a verse. I'm giving you the life and the good, the bad and the death. And you should choose the good, which means you can choose the bad. I won't interfere. But in the end, you come to be judged by me for good or for bad is 100%. You cannot avoid it. Ayin ro'ah, there's an eye who watch over you. Ve'ozen shomat, and a ear who listens to you. Ve'chol ma'asecha b'sefer nichtavim. And everything you do is registered in my book. For the future to come, we will analyze every step you made. Now, if you are guilty, now it's time to pay. If you are not guilty, you earn a lot, now it's my time to pay you. Where does it say it in the Torah? Where does the Torah say there's life after life? Maybe the reward is here. The answer is absolutely not. The Torah says, I'm testing you, I'm checking what's in your heart. Do you love me or not? What's the purpose of that? To reward you in your end. Lehativcha ba'acharitecha. Who understand Hebrew here? Ma ze lehativcha? To benefit you, to reward you. That's the right word, to reward you. Ma ze acharit? Acharit means sof. Be'acharitecha means your end. I'm going to start to reward you in your end. Which end? In the end here. When the soul separates out of the body, where does it say in the Torah that death is separation of the soul? And the soul of Rachel came out of her body, and Rachel died. That's the step. King Solomon wrote in Kohelet, and the soul returns to the master who gave it, and the body returns to the ground. That's where it came from, and that's death. What's life? And God created Adam, sent from the ground. And He blew into his nostrils a living divine soul. And Adam became alive. The Torah say at least in 100 places. It's a lot. If you're going to listen to me and follow my ways and do it, not only in words and in your heart. Rabbi, I'm religious in my heart. Thank you, I'm not interested. This kind of members I don't want in my club. You want to be in my club? You have to clean. You have to paint. You have to make order. You have to come on time. You cannot steal. You cannot kill. There's a list. You follow the rules of my club, the $1 million check will come to you in the end of the month. You don't follow, blame yourself. What do you want from me? There's no really punishment in Judaism. It's all reality. I'll give you an example. Every time the Torah says if a person will do such and such, will be executed. And it happens. That's a punishment? No, it's not a punishment. You know why? What's the difference between reality and a punishment? Reality, if I have in my backyard 10 bombs under the ground, and I made a fence around it, and I put 12 different signs, warning, explosive under the ground, life risk, do not enter, be careful, and you decided to jump over the fence, go inside, God forbid, explosion, and you died. Can someone come and sue me? Nobody can sue me. You know why? Because I gave you 12 warnings. That's what the Torah did when it comes to Shabbat. The Torah say, Shabbat is the eternal covenant between me and my children, the nation of Israel, for eternity, to teach the world that I created the world in 6 days and in the 7th day I rested. If you follow my Shabbat, you live for eternity. There is no end to the huge reward of a righteous Jew in the afterlife. Where does it say it? It says like this. If you take all the rewards, all the physical pleasure of all the people who ever lived in this earth, from the beginning of the world until the end of the world, billions, supposedly trillions of people by now in all the generations, combine all of them together, and their entire 70, 80 years of life, every day's pleasure, accumulate everything in one huge mountain of pleasure. Food, money, sports, fame, music, glory, clothing, jewelry, you name it. Add everything in one huge pile of trillions of people combined. All of it will not be equal to the reward of one Jew for 1 hour in the afterlife. Where does it say it in the Torah? Maybe I'm a beautiful manipulator that make up lies. Don't take my word. I'll bring you the source. After I prove to you, if you watch my CD, I didn't even show 2-3 proofs. I have more than 20 proofs over there. That the Torah is divine, then every word is divine. It's not a newspaper. It's the word of God. And God is not a member in the Israeli Knesset that promised yesterday something and the next day doesn't remember what he said, as long as he's the minister already. All the politicians are like this. When God say I promise, that means you get it. It's just a matter of time. It will come, for good or for bad. Where does it say what I just said about the reward? יפה שעה אחת של קורת רוח בעולם הבא מכל חיי העולם הזה. 1 hour of spiritual pleasure in the next life is greater than this entire world. Everything combined. 1 hour. For what? For keeping Shabbat. What's keeping Shabbat? Making kiddush, eating a great meal like in the holidays, singing, drinking, having guest over, family, playing, enjoying, and the next day going to shul, coming back, eating again, taking a nap, going to the park, walking to the backyard, sitting next to the pool, talking, arguing, speaking about million things, family gathering together, the children finally see their parents, enjoying every second of Shabbat. Every religious person you ask him will tell you, I'm waiting all week for Friday night. It's like an addiction. As soon as Shabbos is over, depression begins. Every Shomer Shabbos will tell you this. And for that, you're going to get a reward. What a great God. He didn't tell us to pick up the Empire State on our building for reward. No. It's very easy. The Torah says, Ki lo b'shamayim. It's not in heaven to say who's going to go there and get it to us. It's not across the ocean. It's right in your hand and in your mouth to do it. It's a piece of cake. And God say, Mi iten v'haya ze levavam le'ira oti kol hayamim. I wish they will be clever to fear and respect me in a right prospect, that I should reward them as I promised. And many, many other examples. You know why most Jews are not religious? Only one reason. And nobody ever was able to contradict what I'm about to tell you. I've been asking that for 15 years, not a day or two. None of the secular Jews, none of them, read the Torah carefully, even one time in their life, from the beginning to the end. Not even one! One. There's 11 million secular Jews in the world. 2 million more or less are religious. More religious, less religious. That's the statistic. 20% religious, 80% not religious. This 80%, not to talk that most of them don't even know that they're Jews. They don't understand what's the difference bichlal. Here, America, marry goyim, have no idea what is Judaism. I'm talking those who know there is God and the Torah. They have so many speeches against the Torah, so many arguments against the religion, and in the end they never read the Torah one time to understand the simple meaning of the words. What chutzpah! Imagine I come to a convention of the brain surgeon in the world. I do not know how brain look, and I'm giving them 1 hour speech against the brain surgeries that they do. After 5 minutes, one of them says, "Excuse me, sir, you've been talking and talking and talking against the surgery. Where did you go to school?" "In Shchunat HaTikva." "Where is it?" "It's a neighborhood in Israel with all the gangsters sitting there selling drugs. That's where I went to school." "Oh, so you didn't go to medical school?" "What medical school? You know better than me because you went to medical school?" "Well, you know about brain better than me?" "Why? Because you know you work with brain?" "I'll tell you how to operate." They put me in a mental institution. But against the religion, everything is kosher. Everything is acceptable. Come, we'll put you on the news. Come, we'll put you in the newspaper. Completely ignorant. He doesn't know one word in Rashi how to read. And he has beautiful lectures against the Rabbi, beautiful lectures against the Torah. Where did we get to? Where did this chutzpah come from? Why don't you be honest and come and say, "Sir, you have knowledge in Judaism. I'm a computer engineer. You come to argue with me about computer, I'll crush you. I'll come to argue with you about religion. You crush me, it's obvious. You have the knowledge here, and I have the knowledge there. I cannot argue with you. I came to teach, to learn from you. Teach me. I didn't come to argue. Today nobody comes to learn. Come to give a lecture. 2 minutes is in a lecture, a list of comments. Do this, you know this, how come it's this? The Torah is very wide. It's big, big like an ocean. You learn 1,000 years, you don't know 1% yet. I am not exaggerating. If you see Rambam, Rashi, Ramchal, De'ari, all this, Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, Rabbi Akiva, if you see the amount of knowledge these people had, you begin to shake. It's not human. Cannot be. I live 1,000 years, I won't know 1% of Rabbi Akiva. 1,000 years without eating, without sleeping, without nothing. Just learning. I won't get to 1% of him. 1,000 years, not 100 years. I have the nerve to ask about something that he said. He knows the entire Torah from left to right by heart. He said this is what the Torah meant, and I am the genius who learned Torah maybe a year and a half, if you add all the hours together, have beautiful lectures against Rabbi Akiva and Moshe Rabbeinu. How did Moshe do like this? How can Avraham did like this? The smarter you are, you recognize where you belong. Not you, everyone, me, same thing. The greater you become, you know where I belong. People who do not know where they belong, it's like one coin in a tzedakah box. Makes a lot of noise, but it's only 1 penny. When the tzedakah box is full of diamonds, it doesn't make noise. Silent. The greater you are, the more you acknowledge how much I'm missing. The more ignorant you are, you have beautiful speeches against Hashem, against the Torah, and in the end, God forbid, you be destroyed for eternity. Why? Stupidity. If I took my ego down, and I say, you know what, it's time to wake up. Forget about ego. Let me start learning. This guy got me to think. I'm taking some of his CDs. Let's see. Let's make comment. Let's double check. Let's ask other rabbi. Let's start something. Then come next week. Then I make a lecture in my home. I bring my friend. I'm already in a system. I'm not telling you to grow a beard. I'm not telling you to put hats. All these customs are not important. What's important is what the Torah says. Shabbat is very important. It's an eternal covenant between God and us. Do we understand what we're doing here? Tefillin, it's 2 minutes a day. It's very important. Eating kosher, if you don't eat kosher, it contaminates the soul. Cannot see the difference between good and bad. And many other things that we do to ourselves. Almost everybody get divorced. You know why? Because nobody ever learned what marriage is about. If people would know what's the purpose of marriage, 80-90% of the divorce would be prevented. And everybody would be happy from his spouse. Why no one is happy? Because they think we are animals. My wife is not as pretty anymore. It's a year later. Let's get something new. Let's replace the car. They think it's every year a new model. No responsibility. Nobody cares about the kids. Nobody cares about what God's thinking about me. How I'm going to have, what's going to be the outcome from what I'm doing now. Cheating today, doing this. All desires like a dog. Live like a dog. Every desire that I have, I must fulfill. Drugs, let's do it. Pig, let's do it. Killing someone, let's do it. Stealing, let's do it. Running away from responsibility, cheating, lying, stealing money from Holocaust survivor, everything is kosher. Why? No God. But if there is God and He's watching me, as He said, I don't need police to tell me not to steal. I'm afraid of Him. King Solomon wrote, Ashrei Adam mefachet tamid. Who is a wise Jew? Luckiest one that is afraid of God every second of his life. It's not an embarrassment to be afraid of God. It's not Obama. From Obama, don't be afraid. From the FBI, don't be afraid. From the Palestinians, terrorists, don't be afraid. It's your choice. To be afraid of God is an honor. It's not putting me down. I'm honored that I'm afraid from the right authority. My Creator who supplies me with oxygen and food and money and my wife and my children and my car. And I have a list until tomorrow morning. From Him, I'm going to rebel against Him. He's going to give me good. I'll take the money and use it against Him. Tell me don't eat pork. I'm taking the money that He gives me every week, buying pork and eating it. Tell me don't violate Shabbat. I take the money He gives me. I buy gas, put it in my car, drive all Shabbat to get Him upset and angry. Why? Because I don't understand what I'm doing here. I'm done for tonight. Now, if you have all the questions you have, you can ask me all your questions. If not, other than that, Bezrat Hashem, done. Time is running out. Finish. Time, we finish. More? Any questions before we done?